just over half an hour. We have 2 discussants. Just keep it to a minute or 2 to open up the debate, if you would. So I'm going to go to Estelle first.
I think one of the things, my biggest takeaway from listening to you all is when we're doing this research, the importance of thinking, what methods are we using? Are we actually using patriarchal or traditional methods of research? What assumptions are we bringing with us to the research? And I found it really interesting when Julia said, all of us can be really good at answering the wrong problems. So when you go to actually co-produce questions with women, girls, all types of race backgrounds, class backgrounds, sexualities, trans people, non-binary people, how do you kind of integrate all of that in? And then going to the Q methodology, when you started with, here's this old white guy who came up with this method, it's like really quite interesting. It's like, are these methods suited, or is it just about being conscious of that and kind of questioning everything as you go along? And I think that's the thing. It's like when you're doing research, you're telling a story, and that story is also from the researcher's perspective. So being aware of what we're bringing into it and helping tell other stories. I guess my question is, to what degree do you think you've thought of that? Obviously, probably on different journeys as well. But and then how can we get better? What does feminist research look like? What does feminist conferences look like? How are we actually sharing the knowledge? And that's the other thing. I think here we could also be preaching to the converted a little bit. So how do we get out to those that need to be converted? Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Adam to do the next intervention, and then we'll take some feedback from.
Okay, just very briefly. So thanks. That was 4 fascinating and very rich kind of presentations. And, I suppose 2 observations and then a bit of a challenge. So that the observations are, and made very, very clearly, are about how we try and do co-production in non-tokenistic ways. I think that's a real challenge. I think it's really important. I think it's the kind of the reflexivity of actually being kind of self-conscious of the limits of how you address differential power relations between the researcher and those that are involved in the knowledge production process is really challenging. But that actually people are doing interesting stuff like researchers in residence, which I think is fascinating. I think is really, is really pushing at the boundaries of that. We need more of it. We need more of it. I think and quite clearly you're doing it in responsible ways, because there are dangers also in doing co-production in slightly kind of challenging ways that may produce problems in themselves. There was the second, I suppose, theme for me was about the research relationship with communities, with those as being long-term relationships, not simply the short-term. Now, there are a whole load of structural questions about funding, which a number of people kind of touched on, but it seems to me that's really important, and that takes us often to place-based research as being a way of trying to engender some of those relationships. And in some senses, parks allow the kind of the physical place in which to do that and focus on the place. The challenge, I suppose, the challenge that cut across the 4 presentations is about the challenge between trying to seek consensus, or trying to seek kind of where people share common views, which obviously Q is about to some degree, and also allowing the expression of diversity. So the diversity of experiences, the diversity of different groups, and how best to communicate that. Because of course often, the media, we started off as a media things, it's the consensus that they want rather than the diversity. And how you use diversity to affect change, I think, is a challenge as well. I'll stop there.
Lots there, thank you.